Right now, in your kitchen, in your medicine cabinet, in your daily routine, there is something you consume almost every single day that is quietly poisoning two of the hardest working organs in your entire body. You are probably doing it this morning. You will probably do it again tonight, and the terrifying part is that you will feel completely fine while it happens, because this kind of damage doesn't come with pain, doesn't come with warning signs, and doesn't ask for permission. By the time you feel it, the damage is often already done. Stay with me for the next few minutes, because what you are about to learn could genuinely change how long you live and how well you live. Let's talk honestly about your kidneys, because most people never think about them until something goes wrong. Your kidneys are not just some background organ quietly doing paperwork in your body. They are one of the most sophisticated filtration systems on the planet, working every second of every day, whether you are awake, asleep, stressed, relaxed, sick, or healthy. They filter your entire blood supply over and over, removing toxins, clearing out waste, balancing the fluids in your body. But that's not all they do. They regulate your blood pressure. They trigger the production of red blood cells so you don't become anemic and exhausted. They keep your bones strong and mineral balanced. In short, your kidneys are the foundation that almost every other system in your body depends on to function properly. Now here's the problem. Your kidneys are silent. They don't have nerve endings screaming out pain when something goes wrong the way a headache or a stomach ache would. Chronic kidney damage is not loud. It is not dramatic. It creeps in slowly year after year, quietly stealing function while you go about your normal life feeling completely fine. And by the time real symptoms show up, swelling in the ankles, exhaustion that never seems to lift, muscle cramps that won't quit, the damage can already be severe, and in many cases, irreversible. This is exactly why so many people are blindsided by a kidney diagnosis. Nobody warned them. Nobody explained what was actually attacking their kidneys every single day, hidden in plain sight. That changes today. We are going to expose 4 everyday poisons that are silently attacking your kidneys, ranked from the most common all the way up to the single most dangerous, most addictive, and most widespread threat of all. If you think you're safe because you eat pretty healthy or you don't really drink soda, stay until the end, because poison number 1 might be hiding somewhere you'd never expect. Before we get into the list, you need to understand one crucial fact. Age changes everything. As the years pass, your kidneys naturally lose a portion of their filtering power. Think of it like a car engine that has clocked hundreds of thousands of miles. It still runs, but it doesn't have the strength it once had. Now imagine feeding that tired engine low-grade fuel and forcing it to climb steep hills day after day, year after year. It won't just wear down, it will break down far sooner than it should have. That is precisely what many of us unknowingly do to our kidneys. For decades, we expose our kidneys to things that seem totally harmless in our 20s and 30s, but each exposure leaves a tiny invisible scar. And those scars don't disappear. They accumulate, silently, relentlessly, until one day that accumulated damage becomes kidney failure. Making matters worse, aging also makes it far easier for high blood pressure and type 2 diabetes to develop. And these two conditions are, without question, the leading causes of kidney disease worldwide. Think of them as 2 hammers striking again and again at the same fragile structure. So anything in your daily life that fuels high blood pressure or diabetes is not a minor inconvenience. It is a direct assault on your kidneys. With that understood, let's begin the countdown. We're starting with something that might catch you off guard, because it isn't something you eat or drink at all. It's something you're simply not doing enough of. Poison number 4 is a sedentary lifestyle. The stagnant water that slowly suffocates your kidneys. You might be wondering what sitting on the couch for hours has to do with your kidneys. The answer is everything. Your kidneys depend entirely on strong, healthy blood flow to do their job properly. Picture a fast-moving river, powerful, clean, constantly refreshing itself. Now picture a stagnant puddle left untouched for weeks. Mud settles, bacteria grow, the water turns toxic. Your circulatory system works exactly like that river, and a sedentary lifestyle turns it into that stagnant puddle. When you move, when you walk, stretch, or simply get up and shift your body, your heart pumps harder, and blood surges with force through the millions of microscopic filters inside your kidneys. That force is what allows them to clean your body efficiently, but when you spend hour after hour sitting still, everything slows down. Blood flow becomes sluggish, and this sluggishness opens the door wide for obesity, high blood pressure, and type 2 diabetes to move in. When your body isn't moving, it stops processing blood sugar efficiently, which leads to insulin resistance, the direct pathway to diabetes. Inactivity also causes weight gain, forcing your heart to work harder and pushing your blood pressure upward. Every extra pound your body carries becomes an additional burden your kidneys have to compensate for. So what's the fix? You don't need to become a marathon runner overnight. The solution is far simpler than you think, and it starts today. If you spend long stretches sitting, the first step is simply interrupting that pattern. Set a reminder on your phone every hour. When it goes off, stand up, walk to the kitchen, get a glass of water, stretch your arms above your head. That small act alone reactivates your circulation immediately. From there, build toward a daily walk. It doesn't need to be long. 10 minutes is enough to start. Add 5 more minutes the following week. Consistency matters far more than intensity here. Walking remains one of the single best things you can do for your entire body. It strengthens your heart, helps regulate blood sugar, supports your bones, and sends fresh, healthy blood flow directly to your kidneys. If mobility is a challenge for you, seated exercises work too. Arm movements, leg lifts, ankle rotations, every bit of movement counts. Remember the river. Every single step you take is another wave of clean, fresh water flushing through your kidneys. Now let's move to poison number 3, and this one is hiding in almost every household on Earth, tucked quietly inside the medicine cabinet. It's the pill you reach for without a second thought whenever you have a headache, back pain, or joint pain. We're talking about non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, NSAIDs, the ones with familiar names you've probably taken dozens of times. Because these are sold without a prescription, most people assume they're completely harmless. That assumption is exactly the trap. While these medications are effective for pain relief, frequent or long-term use, or use in high doses, can quietly devastate your kidneys, especially as you get older. Here's how it actually works. In plain terms, your kidneys rely on substances called prostaglandins to keep the tiny arteries feeding them properly open and functioning. The problem is that NSAIDs work specifically by blocking prostaglandins to reduce pain and inflammation throughout your body, but they cannot tell the difference between the ones causing your headache and the ones protecting your kidneys. They block all of them. The result is that the small arteries supplying your kidneys begin to constrict, cutting off the blood and oxygen your kidneys desperately need. Picture stepping on a garden hose while trying to water a plant. The water can't get through and the plant slowly withers. Your kidneys experience the exact same starvation. The truly dangerous part is how invisible this damage is. Taking these pills daily for chronic pain is like stepping on that hose, then releasing it, then stepping on it again, over and over every single day. Over time, the delicate filtering structures become scarred and stop functioning properly, and this process rarely produces any noticeable symptoms until it's already advanced. So what should you actually do? Living with untreated pain isn't the answer either. Your quality of life matters, but being smart about it matters more. Never rely on NSAIDs as a chronic, self-prescribed daily solution. If pain persists for more than a few days, that is your body's alarm system telling you to investigate the actual cause, not to mask it indefinitely with pills. Be transparent about everything you take, including vitamins, herbal supplements, and over-the-counter remedies. Many cold and sleep medications contain hidden NSAIDs you might not even realize you're taking. For occasional pain, acetaminophen is generally considered gentler on the kidneys when used at proper doses, and non-pill alternatives like physical therapy, heat, cold therapy, and stretching can dramatically reduce how often you need medication at all. Used occasionally and responsibly, NSAIDs are a useful tool. Used daily without guidance, they become a slow, silent threat to your kidney function. Now we arrive at poison number 2, salt, the invisible enemy hiding inside almost everything you eat. Most people insist, I barely use the salt shaker, so I should be fine. That belief is one of the biggest misconceptions out there. The real danger isn't the salt you sprinkle on your plate, it's the massive hidden sodium loaded into processed and packaged foods. The vast majority of the sodium in a typical diet doesn't come from a salt shaker at all. It comes from bread, deli meats, cheeses, canned soups, sauces, frozen meals, and virtually anything that arrives in a package. Manufacturers use sodium to extend shelf life and boost flavor, which means it slips into your diet almost invisibly. Your body genuinely needs a small amount of sodium to function properly, but when it's flooded with far more than it needs, the entire balance collapses. To dilute the excess sodium, your body starts retaining fluid, increases thirst, and signals your kidneys to hold on to water rather than release it. This drives up the total volume of blood moving through your arteries, and that increased volume sends your blood pressure climbing. High blood pressure is the second leading cause of kidney failure worldwide. The tiny filtering vessels inside your kidneys are incredibly delicate. Imagine trying to clean a piece of silk fabric using a firefighter's hose, blasting at full pressure. That fabric would be shredded almost instantly. That is essentially what chronically elevated blood pressure does to your kidneys, day after day, year after year. Protecting yourself starts with becoming a label detective. This isn't about eating bland, flavorless food. It's about eating with awareness. Flip packages over and actually look at the sodium content. You'll be shocked to discover high sodium levels hiding in foods that don't even taste salty, like certain cereals and cookies. As a general guide, most people should aim to stay under roughly 2,000 to 2,300 milligrams of sodium per day. And if you already struggle with high blood pressure, the target drops closer to 1,500 milligrams. Cooking more meals at home gives you direct control over exactly how much sodium ends up on your plate. Lean into natural flavor boosters instead. Garlic, onion, black pepper, oregano, rosemary, turmeric, cumin, paprika, fresh lemon, and vinegar can transform a bland dish without adding a single gram of sodium. And if you buy canned vegetables, a quick rinse under running water removes a significant portion of the added sodium. Give your taste buds a few weeks to reset, and you'll genuinely start noticing flavors you'd forgotten existed. Which brings us to the final one, poison number 1, the undisputed champion of silent destruction. This is the most addictive, most widespread, and most devastating threat on this entire list, and it doesn't come disguised as some rare chemical. It's something wrapped in celebration, comfort, and reward. We're talking about sugar and its constant partner in crime, refined flour, the white sweetness in desserts, sodas, and candy, but also the seemingly innocent white bread, pasta, and baked goods that make up so much of a typical diet. This combination is widely recognized as the leading driver behind type 2 diabetes, which is in turn the #1 cause of kidney failure on the planet. Why does this deserve the top spot? Because sugar and refined flour, which your body converts into sugar almost instantly, don't attack from just one direction. They launch a coordinated assault from multiple fronts simultaneously. The first front is the direct highway to diabetes. When you eat sugar or refined carbohydrates, they trigger a sudden flood of glucose into your bloodstream. Your pancreas scrambles to release insulin to bring that level back down. Do this every single day, and your cells gradually become resistant to insulin's signal, leaving excess sugar circulating in your blood. That resistance is the very beginning of type 2 diabetes. Once blood sugar remains chronically elevated, it begins to essentially caramelize the delicate filtering structures inside your kidneys, making them stiff, damaged, and progressively less functional, one of the fastest documented paths toward dialysis. The second front is blood pressure. For years, sodium got all the blame, but research increasingly shows that a diet high in sugar independently drives blood pressure upward as well. That means even someone diligently avoiding salt can still be quietly damaging their kidneys through sugar alone. The third front is silent, chronic inflammation. Sugar behaves almost like fuel on a slow-burning fire inside your body, steadily inflaming the lining of your arteries, including the ones feeding your kidneys. And the fourth front is weight gain and fatty liver disease. Sugar your body doesn't immediately burn gets stored as fat, contributing to obesity, another major kidney risk factor. And it frequently accumulates in the liver as well, disrupting your entire metabolism and placing even more strain on your kidneys. 4 separate fronts, one shared target, your kidneys. The good news is that this enemy, despite being powerful, is entirely beatable, and knowledge is your strongest weapon. Start by learning sugar's many disguises. High fructose corn syrup, dextrose, sucrose, maltose, and a long list of other names all describing the same substance. Eliminate the most obvious sources first. Sugary sodas, sweetened iced teas, and bottled juices, since a single can of soda can contain the equivalent of 10 teaspoons of sugar. Replace them with plain water, sparkling water with fresh lemon, or unsweetened herbal tea. This single change alone can dramatically shift your health trajectory. Be cautious with anything labeled low fat, since manufacturers frequently compensate for removed fat by loading the product with extra sugar to preserve taste. Choose the plain natural versions of foods whenever possible. Plain yogurt with fresh fruit added yourself, rather than pre-sweetened varieties. Gradually replace refined white flour with whole grains, genuine whole grain bread, brown rice, and oats, since their fiber content slows down how quickly sugar enters your bloodstream. And ultimately, build your diet around real whole foods, fresh vegetables, fruit, legumes, lean meat, fish, eggs, and nuts. When your plate is dominated by real food, sugar and refined flour naturally shrink to a tiny fraction of your diet, almost without effort. So here is everything laid out clearly. Poison number 4 is a sedentary lifestyle, quietly stagnating your circulation and opening the door to disease. Poison number 3 is chronic painkiller misuse, silently strangling blood flow to your kidneys. Poison number 2 is hidden sodium, driving your blood pressure upward without you even realizing it. And poison number 1, the most dangerous of all, is sugar and refined flour, launching a coordinated attack against nearly every system connected to your kidneys. This isn't meant to overwhelm you, it's meant to hand you back control. The uncomfortable truth is still far more valuable than comfortable ignorance, because only the truth lets you make better decisions starting today. Kidney disease is not some unavoidable fate written into your future. Every single poison on this list is something within your control. You decide whether you get up out of that chair. You decide whether unexplained pain gets investigated instead of masked. You decide whether you flip the package over and read the label. You decide whether the glass in your hand holds water or soda. Nobody is asking you to transform your entire life overnight. Real change comes from one small decision today and another tomorrow. Every home-cooked meal is a small victory. Every short walk is another layer of protection for your kidneys. You hold far more power over this outcome than you might think. If any part of this made you stop and think, share it with someone who needs to hear it. A parent, a partner, a friend who's been ignoring their own warning signs. Information like this is only powerful when it actually reaches people. And if you want to keep learning how to protect your health with clear, practical guidance, stay subscribed and keep the notifications on so you never miss what comes next. Now it's your turn. Which of these 4 poisons surprised you the most? And which one are you finally ready to cut out starting today? Drop it in the comments, because that conversation might be exactly what someone else needs to see. Your kidneys work tirelessly for you every single second of every single day, without ever asking for a break. It's time to return the favor.